She's the technology one.
No, not really.
You work in IT?
Not that. You ready? Well, hang on. We're getting there.
Hold on. I've disappeared, I think.
All right. Well, we can see you.
Okay.
Yep. I can still see you on the screen.
I guess on the phone, man. I don't need to.
I'm not that important. You don't have to see.
I just. Hold on. Where'd it go? That's bizarre. Oh, there we are. Okay. I think it just, the window just popped off.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think we've been using Zoom now for the last few weeks, so we're still trying to get everything working out with the speaker and the microphones, and it's like.
Yeah, it's like my third time using Zoom, and yeah, still a bunch of new. Trying to figure it out.
So, are you ready to start? All right, well, kick us off.
I'm Jacqueline.
And I'm Philip.
Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Philip. Good to see you both.
Good to see you both. And we're doing a Richmond Comics Weekend update. And we're going to start out with our interview with Mark Russell, who has so graciously decided to wake up early out on the West Coast and join us for our noontime luncheon. So is it nice and sunny out there this morning?
Yeah, it is now. It's deceptively sunny because it was raining all night, so it's like sunny but extremely wet.
Gotcha.
Which is not uncommon for Oregon.
Well, yeah.
I would love to be in Oregon.
Yeah, we'll have to get out there someday. We keep saying it.
Yeah, it's nice, but it's not raining. It's really nice. Even when it is raining, it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like in Richmond, pretty much the weather is, it could be something like right now, and then like 5 minutes from now, it could be a tornado, and then 10 minutes later, it'd be 90 degrees and sunny. It's,
Bipolar.
yeah, we definitely have like very bipolar weather in Richmond.
Yours is always constantly 60 degrees and drizzling.
I can deal with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Summers are beautiful, but yeah, the rest of the year, 60 degrees.
Yeah, that's probably more my style. All right, we'll sort of get started. Mark, if you wouldn't mind telling our audience a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. I'm a comic book writer. By means of accident, I sort of stumbled into this medium, but doing anything else. You might know me from titles. I think most people know me from the Hanna-Barbera stuff I did for DC, like the Flintstones and Snagglepuss. And I also, there you go. Thank you for the flag. Also, I did Wonder Twins and Second Coming doing now for Ahoy. Yep, very awesome. Yeah, we're all lined up. Pretty good.
Yep. And this is what we know you from.
But I got into comics because I wrote those two books. God is Disappointing You and Apocrypha Now, which are retellings of the Bible, both the canonical Bible and God is Disappointing You and the non-canonical Bible from the Jewish and Christian oral traditions in Apocrypha Now. And from those, I somehow got segued into working in comics.
Sounds good. So during all this time, I'm sure you're usually running around and maybe going to conventions and doing stuff, but now you're basically in lockdown. So how are you handling that?
Largely like this, doing like a lot of like online interviews and little digital Comic-Con panels and stuff. But yeah, it's been a mixed bag because I really enjoy going to the cons. It's one of my, unlike other performing arts, like writing, you just sort of do it in isolation. You don't really do it for an audience, like you would if you were an actor or a singer or something. So the cons are sort of like your chance to meet the audience, to get the audience reaction. You all be at like a year after you'd written something, So I really kind of miss that component of the medium. But at the same time, it's given me it's made life a lot more peaceful. A little more time writing and relaxing, hanging out with the fam. Not as much time running around eating, $6 pretzels and you ass at the cons. So it's a mixed thing.
Right. So during this time, have you created some any new hobbies for yourself, or do you have like old hobbies that you pick back up again?
Yeah, I just sort of deeply regressed into my own catatonic state I haven't really picked up anything new. I wish I could say I learned the trombone or something, but it hasn't been like that. I've just sort of been doing more of the things I did before, watching movies, reading, writing. I used to draw a lot more though. I haven't drawn very much because of the writing schedule's been so aggressive over the last couple of years. So one thing is I've been able to draw a little more, which is nice.
Gotcha. So, did you start out drawing before writing, or is that just kind of went hand in hand?
No, I drew before and completely independently. Right, I'm not a very good visual artist. I would never be able to draw something that would be able to pass on as like a professional comic book artist. But I could draw my own little cartoons,
Right.
and that's how I really got started, drawing my own cartoons. It's nice, and sometimes I still draw. When I'm working on a comic book, I'll draw an image to match what I'm thinking of to send to an artist. Like this is kind of what I'm talking about. So I'll try to in my crappy, rendering. I'll give them something that they can then make look good.
Right. Well, I mean, don't give up, because Tom King seems to do very well with his little stick figures that he does at conventions.
I'm better than Tom King. I will say that much. I've at least cleared that bar.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, it's
Not a high bar.
won't say it's a high bar, but still.
People will come up to me at the cons not knowing who I am, obviously. They'll feel I'm an artist. They'll say, oh, can you draw me something? And I will draw them something if they ask me. It might not be what they had envisioned. I do a lot of drawing of like Batman in a hot tub, because then I like to draw from like the chest up.
Now I have to see that.
That's my sort of cheat.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, that's
I
definitely
do that.
that's definitely a sketchbook worthy. Isn't it?
So what made you write these books? Like, what did you have in mind when you started this process?
Well, it started with a conversation in a bar, which really sort of informed the rest of the project. It really is sort of like the Bible is explained to somebody in a bar. I was having some drinks with my friend Shannon Wheeler, who did the cartoons
Right.
Yeah.
in those books, and he was telling he had this like sort of hippie upbringing in San Francisco. His sister was literally born at the corner of Kate and Ashbury in the '60s. So like he's like hippiness was in his genes. So he had no idea what the Bible was about. Parents are really well-adjusted hippies, never bothered about hell or anything. So he said, I have no idea. People talk about the Bible, I have no idea what they're talking about. He gave Job as an example. I told him the story of Job because I had the polar opposite upbringing. I was brought up, sort of semi-rural, like deeply conservative, evangelical household. So I thought I understood the Bible, at least I had grown up with the Bible.
Right.
What I really came to understand, though, was that I was only about 1% of the Bible that was useful for them to teach me. So anyway, I told him the story of Job in like a paragraph or two. He's like, oh, that's perfect. You should do the whole Bible just like that. I'll draw cartoons and have a book. So that was really what started it. Then I thought this was easy because I grew up with the Bible. I've been going, so I went to church from, as long as I can remember until 18, 19 years old. I know the Bible inside and out. But it wasn't until I started working on the book I realized just how little of the Bible I actually did. And also how little of the Bible most people who claim to be Bible-believing Christians actually know. They only read, like, the few select passages that are read over and over in church or in Sunday school.
Yep.
The 9/10 of the iceberg is under the water. So that was kind of what I wanted to do, is bring the rest of the iceberg above the sea line, let them see what the Bible actually said.
Right. Yeah, that's I use your books a lot in those examples, because I too, like yourself, was brought up, very, very much in the church. And once again, it's the percentage that they want us to learn. And I branched out, then I found your work, and God's disappointed in me. And I'm like, well, when I first saw the title, I'm like, well, I got to have this because I know it's true. So, and yeah, it was perfect.
It was sort of like a self-reflective title. It's like, oh, I failed my family. I failed my, the faith. But it wasn't. But when I was writing the book, it was like, no, really, they failed choice but to, I wasn't really turning my back on on Christianity so much as I was turning my back on the two-dimensional way in which it was taught to me.
Right.
And really the self-serving way in which it's been presented to the public. Christianity, when it started as the religion of Christ, was about like, how to escape the Roman Empire without actually having to like draw your sword. And the answer he largely came out with was like, you know, drop out. Don't be someone that they can bribe. Don't be someone who they you know is like playing by their rules, and you will have defeated the Roman Empire. And the problem came that when Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire, that message was no longer useful to them. So they had to sort of twist Christianity to be this sort of like religion of conformity, this religion of like, well, you should always follow the law and do what the emperor says and render unto Caesars and do and that's really where it sort of, you know, the Christianity has kind of like been sort of perverted by the institutions that needed to get people to fall in line and used in the opposite manner which it was intended.
Right. Yeah. So when you came out with those, or came out with guys disappointed you, did you yourself see a lot of backlash on that from, you know, just from people from the outside, or did it just fly enough under the radar where it was like you really didn't hear anything from anyone?
Yeah, I think more of the second one. The weird thing is that, you know, I wrote 2 books about the Bible and didn't really get a lot of backlash, but I got like a ton of flack from people when I messed with the flow stuff. So it's like,
that's funny.
I thought you were going to say this one.
really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second coming is where I got the backlash.
Right. Yeah.
The comic book was on it. I think the difference is that people will actually read a book before they'll decide that they hate it.
Right.
Whereas the comic book, the second it's announced, they have an opinion about it.
Yeah. That's like one of the examples we use here a lot is Robert Crumb's Genesis. Like, it's basically a complete retelling of Genesis just with pictures. So, like, everyone hates that book.
Yeah, and it's really
And it's like,
taking any liberties at all. It's just sort of like, here's an image
right,
based upon this verse that you claim to have built your life around.
right,
But I think it's not so much that they find his message or his meaning offensive, or even really saying the second coming. It's not that they really find the second coming offensive, because people were up in arms about it before they even had a chance to read it.
right,
It's that they find the idea that somebody else would have an opinion, so that somebody else would think they have the right to control the narrative, other than the institutions they've chosen to give that control to, or that they just assumed have control of that narrative. I think that's what they want. Or that's what they're afraid of. It's not the heterodoxy of these crazy approaches to the Bible. It's more like they feel like it's their intellectual property. So anybody else talking about it is sort of like infringing on their copyright.
Were you surprised at the backlash from Second Coming at all? I mean, like, the premise was great, and then you read, all you get to read is the premise, and then, like, right after that, it's like just this wave of, like, where did this come from?
Yeah, I really was kind of surprised by, which in retrospect I probably shouldn't have been, but I was really surprised because I thought that people, one, they would give it a chance before getting upset about it. They
Right.
would actually read a page before they formed an opinion, which was completely wrong. They
Right.
screw up and almost immediately. And also that, you know, people would be cool enough to realize that in these times there's a lot of people with sort of unorthodox or sort of unusual opinions about faith. We live in like a liberal Western society where that's okay, which again I completely, you know, underestimated the powers of orthodoxy in this country.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Like, it hit the previews here. You know, we heard about it and hit it, and we're like, you know, this is going to be something that we're going to love. And then, like, it rolled downhill, and, you know, we're getting messages from DC, and then getting other things. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, and I don't fault DC. It's probably, you know, a bridge, always going to be a bridge too far for them,
Right.
because from their perspective, they're in the business of like selling billion-dollar movie franchises. Why would you risk any of that for this comic book about, you know, superhero sharing an apartment with Jesus Christ? So I don't really fault them for, you know, sort of losing their nerve. But I'm glad that, you know, they were gracious enough to give me the rights back so I could take it to Hawaii,
Right.
which unlike DC is like a company that needs publicity. It was just a brand new company. They need the publicity.
Right.
Even bad publicity is good publicity for them.
Right.
And they didn't have like this billion-dollar line of merchandise and movie deals they were putting at risk with my publishing it. So it worked out well for everyone, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it did. They did a good job with it. So in the staying with Second Coming, in the back of the trade, you basically talked about, I guess, a lot of these characters that you used in here, something you created a long time ago.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about Second Coming is that like all of it was written like a year before it actually came out. So these are all like a lot of characters that I had been sitting on, and even then, like when I was writing it, some of the characters, especially the supporting characters that show up in group therapy sessions, were based upon a 10-minute play that I'd written.
Right.
Like Night Justice and Lady Razor, and even Sunstar were all based on characters like did from this play I wrote about superheroes and villains, kind of like working things out through the talking cure in a group therapy session.
Yeah, I found that pretty interesting. So, talking about the Flintstones, as you're talking about the backlash on it, so from my perspective, I'll be honest, it was really strange that the best book on a shelf during that period of time was the Flintstones. As owner of a comic shop and stuff, it's like, to be honest, it's like, why is the Flintstones the best book on a shelf right now? And it's just one of those strange things. So, and then you talk about the backlash and all that. So were you approached to do Flintstones, or was it something that you wanted to pitch and so you pitched it, or how did that all play out?
I didn't really want to do the Flintstones. I hadn't even really thought about doing it, but I was approached because they liked the work I did on Prez, even though that got canceled after 6 issues. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do the Flintstones, I didn't really have very good memories of watching the Flintstones when I was a kid. I mostly remember being sort of haunted by the fact that there was like a little bird that lived inside a camera, only came out when somebody needed a picture. It just sort of like really sort of weirded me out.
The vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, right. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do the Flintstones. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to talk about this, how weird it is that we all sort of like are seen as just these functions, these roles that we play for other people, aren't really allowed the respect of having a right or worth to exist in our own sort of being. And so the same way that like Fred Flintstone is treated by Mr. Slade as sort of a disposable commodity, Fred is in turn treating the vacuum cleaner and the bowling ball and all those like house appliances. That was kind of the reason that I decided I would do the Flintstones. I wanted to talk about civilization and its discontents.
Right.
Like the way in which the civilization and Bedrock being the world's first civilization kind of got the ball rolling downhill for the rest of us.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was definitely a lot of thought-provoking stuff, and the way you write it is in there. It's pretty good.
I apologize to anybody who was expecting a tasteful homage to the cartoon, but there's really no point in writing a tasteful homage because if you're going to take on an existing IP, you should be doing something different with it, not trying to blend seamlessly into the artistic history of it. That's just forgettable. What's the point?
Right.
What's the point of writing anything if it's not something new?
Yeah. Well, like I said,
That was excellent.
yeah, we already had the old Flintstones, and so this one, it was definitely what was needed at the time, and still today. I mean, it's still probably one of my favorite books.
Well, thank you. I had a really good time writing it. I think largely because DC pretty much it's a freedom you don't get when you're dealing with the crown jewels.
Right.
So the fact that they gave me this sort of rental car allowed me to drive it wherever I wanted. It was really nice. It was a great way to sort of wet my beak.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We're gonna do a giveaway for
Oh, okay.
issues 1 through 12 later. I just wanted to let everybody know.
Yeah. Once again, we here think everyone should read the Flintstones.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. I endorse that position.
yeah. So basically, so after that, you came out with, or the next thing we read from you was Exit Stage Left. So how is that really writing a historical fiction book using Snagglepuss? I mean, that.
To me, I start with the character and what I know about the character, and I build the story out from there. So for Snagglepuss, the two things I knew about Snagglepuss, he clearly has a background in theater, because both his catchphrases, Exit Stage Left and Heaven's to Murgatroyd, are both like theater references. So I thought, well, okay, well, this guy was in theater at some point. And I knew he was a gay icon. So I was like, okay, so he's a gay icon who was in theater and he debuted in cartoons in 1959. What would have been happening before then, in the 1950s, that would have forced him to leave theater? And the first thing that popped to mind was, well, obviously sort of like Lavender Scare, McCarthy era, like witch hunt.
Right.
And so that kind of I built the story around that.
Gotcha. So was this also? I'm just curious. Was this a story in itself that you wanted to tell, and you were just able to tell through Snagglepuss? Was it something that you already had? Because it's
weird. It was something I pitched without realizing that I was pitching it. I was on Facebook and I was posting these sort of what I thought were funny bits of dialogue between Snagglepuss and Huckleberry Hound, as if they were both sort of Southern Gothic, playwrights. Like Snagglepuss was Tennessee Williams, and then Huckleberry Hound is William Faulkner. And
right.
they're talking in a very sort of purple, over descriptive way. Describing their day in very melodramatic ways. And I was just doing it as a gag. But then Marie Javins, my editor at DC, said, oh, by the way, your pitch for the Snagglepuss comic has been approved. But, oh, geez, now I'm going to actually write a comic based on this.
That's funny.
Way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it was really her vision that made it happen.
That's pretty funny. So, especially out of this, like I said, it's, reading Snagglepuss, it's basically historical fiction the way you wrote it out. So how much, in all of these stories, how much research do you put into these books? Or do you just know all of this stuff? Because there's so much in these books that it's how do you, know all this, or to do the research of all of this?
It's a little of both, because, you have to know what is, you have to know something to begin with to even know what to research. But yes, I wanted it to be like a Cold War story during the McCarthy era, because I felt that, in a way, it was sort of a relevant historical period to what we were going through in 2017, which is sort of global slide into fascism, and the idea that there's real Americans, then there's subversives, and the line is being drawn in the sand between real Americans and those who support a more inclusive, multicultural, and the Americans who stand for nationalism, there's Americans who stand for humanity, basically. And I wanted to write a story that was relevant to what I was witnessing, the long lines I was witnessing being drawn in America.
Gotcha. So with all this type of writing you've done, you said you do some drawing and everything, and with all this, so what got you into writing? What made you lead you into this?
I wish I knew.
You said it was an accident.
I could have stopped myself. But no, I've just always been, as long as I can remember, I've always written stuff. And I think that Scott Adams, or gosh, somebody once said that art is whatever you do that you don't need for your survival. And I think that's kind of when I realized I was a writer, because I was writing when nobody was telling me to write. I was a writer when nobody was publishing and nobody was interested in what I had to say. I would still just write stuff and put it in my drawer. So I think I've always been a writer. That's always been my art, because it's
So, we know you got, backlash on the Flintstones. Did you get that kind of backlash with Snagglepuss from people, or did it once again? Yeah, did it just fly over the radar?
Backlash for Snagglepuss, but not really a lot. Not as much as I probably should have. But yeah, the funniest backlash I got was like Breitbart did an article about Snagglepuss. One of their culture wars articles. Like, they're turning Snagglepuss into a gay man, and the picture they showed in the article was like Snagglepuss making out with his boyfriend. And then in the comments section below the article, somebody said, "That lion better be a girl." Which I thought was hilarious. They're not bothered by the bestiality at all.
Yeah. That doesn't mean anything. That's not a problem.
That's completely normal. Disney made that normal a long time ago.
Technically, Superman and Lois Lane is bestiality.
Yeah.
Superman's from another planet.
Right.
Never thought of that.
Yeah, well, it's all
all
fast and
relative.
loose. Yeah, it's all relative. So coming out of that, I guess one of your, not second coming, but your other book that kind of just ended at the end of last year was Wonder Twins. So once again, you kind of took these characters that no one was really asking for, no one has really talked a whole lot about in years, and you pretty much made it where people wanted to read Wonder Twins. Like, how do you?
Well, thanks. Yeah.
Why do you think that is? I mean, what? I guess what do you do writing wise, or how do you put a process in that to where, like, there's no one clamoring coming into a shop center going, if there was only your Wonder Twins comic, but then you start putting a story out there, and it's like people start coming in. It's like, was the next issue of Wonder Twins out?
Well, I think. Well, thank you first of all, but I think a lot of it is just writing as though writing what you really want to write, not writing just something because there's two kinds of writers. There's I'm probably going to pay for making this analogy, but there's mercenaries and then there's suicide bombers. And the mercenaries like, oh yeah, I can write a few Punisher issues. I can get there and I'll shoot a few people, I'll shoot a few issues off, and I'll gone. You'll never even know I was there.
Right.
I just write seamlessly in the voice of that character. On. And then you got suicide bombers who are like, all I can do is walk. My only skill is to walk into the middle of a crowded, airport or whatever, and blow myself up. And for better or for worse, it doesn't matter what the character says or what the job is. I'm not skilled enough to be a mercenary. All I can do is really just blow myself up on stage. And that's the way I try to approach writing. It doesn't matter which character I'm writing or which franchise I'm writing. I'm really writing about myself and the things that haunt me about the world. And so I just sort of blow myself up on the page, and then my only really thought about the characters I'm writing is like, in what way does this character connect to what I'm feeling? What way does this character connect to what I'm experiencing in the world? And with Wonder Twins, the connection was obviously that we are handing a world deeply screwed up to this generation of 17, 18, 19-year-olds who have no idea what they're getting into because we screwed up so badly for them. And, much like the Wonder Twins, they come here from another planet, and they don't realize how screwed up the Earth is, and they're basically expected to fix it. So that's kind of like the role that the post-millennials, Generation Z kids are being put in. So I wanted to write a comic about that experience, and also just somebody who's older is partially to blame for having screwed up the planet so badly. I wanted to say, kind of apologize. Sorry, kids. Here's what we've left you.
Yeah.
It's not the millennials'
Part
fault.
dystopia, part after-school special.
Yeah, it was. I think for me, once again, I reading it, I was kind of astonished at how basically like every single issue you gave us a story that challenged something. I think like issue 2 or 3, you basically challenged like the private prison system, but then you kept building in this larger story that made it through 12. After it got repicked. So I think that to me was interesting. Is like, yeah, each little issue we're going to hit something, but then we're going to make it this overarching, story.
Well, I was really glad that it was extended to 12 issues because there was so much story that I wasn't able to get into the first 6 issues that that I really had a really good framework for doing another 6 when they wanted to extend to 12. And it allowed me to like also do more of these, which I find kind of most gratifying. These issues that don't necessarily push the main plot forward very much, but that allow you to sort of explore the world that you created and like talk about single issues, or to like do a whole issue that just talks about like one thing in the world that's about it.
Gotcha. So were you on that one just because it was a more strict of a, even though they're oddball characters, they're still kind of DC proper? Were you given like guidelines of things you couldn't do in that book, or they're like, just go write the Wonder Twins and we'll see what happens?
No, I wish it were like that, but yeah, it was more restrictive, especially because it's, you know, bumping up against the crown jewels like Batman's showing up.
Right.
Showing up. And they're writing specifically for this teen audience. So yeah, it was a lot more restrictive. I couldn't do a Snagglepuss with the Wonder. It created some friction early on because I wanted to do something that was a little more adult, or a little more a little darker. But they pulled me back on that, which in the end I think worked out well, because it allowed me to like find the tonality of the book and make it more about like, I think the final tonality turned out really well. Then it's, you know, it's part after school special, and it wouldn't have had that sort of like feeling of just being sort of fun and accessible to like readers and their teens if they hadn't pulled me back a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah. It definitely ended up being a very hopeful book throughout the process.
Yeah, I mean, the thing too is like they made me think about like, well, what are the hopeful? It's enough. It's one thing to say, well, here's this sewer that you live in and have fun. It's another thing to say, but you know, there's things we could do to make this a paradise. And it really got me thinking about that second part of the equation, which I think is ultimately more challenging, and ultimately more important than just describing how things are screwed up.
Right. Yeah. So we'll really quick, we'll talk about Billionaire Island a little bit, since that kind of just started. An issue came out. So do you find it strange sometimes that you write these stories and you kind of push the envelope, but yet real life keeps one-upping you all the time? I mean, is that...
Constantly being outflanked by reality. You're right. Satire anymore, because
It's real.
It's like you're writing a comic about the end of the world, and then the world comes along.
Yeah.
Please leave some room for the imagination.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, you're like reading this and like, well, you just can't one up anything anymore. It's just always there. So.
And tragically, a lot of the things you write about tend to stay relevant for long after you've written. These problems don't seem to go away. Solutions you'll prefer no one seems to ever give you up on. So yeah, which is good news for you as a writer, bad news for you as a human being.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you just kind of have to play in that realm. So do you have any, so like in just the back of your mind, do you have any other big type stories that you have planned out over time, or are you just like solely focusing right now on like Billionaire Island and other things, or you've got like these other 20 books in your mind that you're just ready to explode?
Yeah, I do have other projects in mind, and some of which I'm already working on haven't been announced yet. Yeah, and I also got a graphic novel I want to write, but considering doing the artwork myself for it.
Okay.
It's about the first manned mission to Mars, and the premise is that like there's been this huge deposit of natural gas on Mars that's been discovered. So all the energy companies are scrambling to get somebody on Mars so they can claim the land the natural gas is sitting on for themselves. And the company that wins does so because they find this guy who's dying of cancer, and they get him to sign an agreement whereby they will fly him to Mars. They don't have, because he's dying of cancer, they don't have to fly him back. They can just put him on a one-way rocket to Mars, and he's going to claim the land for them and die, and then they'll pay his family after he's dead. And it's all told in the form of this guy's diary.
Right.
So this guy's on the ship to Mars, knowing he's never going to come back. He's writing about his regrets, about his life back on Earth, his thoughts about it. And then the story ends where he actually does get to Mars, and you know what happens to him there. but I've written a lot of it. I haven't drawn really any of it, but I'm a little scared to start drawing because I'll probably quickly realize I'm not really good enough to do it. But that's one thing I'm really looking forward to.
That sounds awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, that sounds really, really good.
Right up your alley.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is right up my alley. So, well, Mark, I think that's pretty much all we had for you this morning to go through that list. I mean, we probably could keep you here all day long talking with a lot of this stuff, because it's,
Your favorite topic.
yeah, it's pretty much everything that you write is pretty much hit my topics that I love as far as satire and everything.
Well, thank you so much. It's really nice.
So it's been really good. But once again, Mark, we appreciate it, and thanks for joining us this morning. And hopefully we'll get to see you sometime soon at a convention somewhere.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to be able to travel again.
Yeah, it would be nice. All right, thank you, sir. Have a good rest of your day. Bye. See you later. In meeting here, in meeting for all, and recording stopped. Now it's going to convert to a meeting, so give us a second to get set up.
Take my chair.
I got you, chair. So he just thinks like that all the time.
Seems like he could hang out with us.
Yes, he does. Yeah, thanks. Definitely have to, if I ever make it out there.
Where's he,
definitely
Oregon?
Yeah, Oregon. Definitely have to, he's in Portland. So I know Bendis approached him for the Wonder Twins,
Right.
so. Yay! Go out there and, hang out with him one day. 'Cause that seems like
Yeah.
I'm glad I laid out questions for him, because that could have been an all-day conversation with deep diving into things that probably no one but myself and us would have cared. All right, where's my mouse? Give us a second, folks. I have to find my mouse, and then I have to get everything up. Once again, thanks for joining us this morning for our interview with Mark Russell, and thank Mark for getting up
Early.
real early. As once again, he said he was in Oregon, Portland, to talk with us. So we will start. Well, we started issue 9.
Issue 9.
Weekend update. Wow, we've been doing this for over 2 months now. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's been a long apocalypse.
It has been. Yeah.
We started right before
You know,
the
maybe this is what caused the apocalypse, because we started this right before the apocalypse, and then it happened.
Well, now I know who to blame.
Yeah, that's
Oh, it's his fault.
always my fault. So yeah. So
Alrighty.
anyway, take it away.
Are you done chit chatting?
And I'm done chit chatting.
This whole show is about chit chat.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the premise of the show.
So, time for giveaways. Do you want to do the honors?
No, you go right ahead. You seem to be.
So
good at
last
this.
week we had Kata Kane on, and we're giving away volumes 1 through 3 of her Ultra Girl series. What?
Nothing. I'm just watching you draw a name.
And the winner is Ray.
Woohoo!
Yay.
You can do the penguin dance.
I don't know your friend.
We watch too much PTI. We got that from Tony Kornheiser and PTI. He does the penguin dance.
That's what you strive to be.
It is. I do strive to be Tony Kornheiser. I do.
But I don't want to be yelled at, so.
We don't have a ticker, and we're not going to argue sports. We could find different comics and like start arguing about different books. That would be great.
Let's argue about the Flintstones next. So, this Lonkin Pack whole series, 1 through 12, single issues, one lucky winner. So to enter,
How do they enter?
I'll tell you, Philip.
Please do.
Like our video,
Barbera. Yes, it's a Hanna-Barbera
I'm gonna
character.
say it wrong. Hanna-Barbera.
Hanna-Barbera character.
Sorry, there's damages on your giveaway.
It's just a Philip face print.
We can replace the bag, it's fine. Hanna-Barbera character, not necessarily Flintstones. Anywho, like and comment to enter, and the winner will be announced next week.
Next week. Yep.
Next week.
Next week.
Next week.
New York City. And once again, yeah, we've got, Mark did all of these books, and I highly recommend every one of them. So, even Prez, even though
We didn't
Prez,
talk about Brad.
we didn't talk about Prez mainly because they didn't let Mark finish Prez. It was supposed to be a 12
Female
issue.
president?
Well, yeah. It was supposed to be a 12 issue series, and it only made it to 6.
Yeah.
So it ended with that storyline, but he didn't get to finish the full storyline.
Yeah.
So, but we recommend them all.
Coronavirus.
Yep. Coronavirus update. We'll eventually have to change the screen. Eventually. So,
Eventually.
let's see how we're going to tackle this. It's a lot of stuff going on. So basically now we are still doing all of this. Right here. These 3 things. Right here. We're still open. Keeping people under 10 as long as we can social distance. Not like this, but 6 feet away. Right. But the premise now is, as of this moment, is that new books will start shipping on May 20th. So that week, is it the next slide? Well, I need to talk, no, it doesn't matter, right? Fine, I'll talk about it next slide then. It's on here too. So here we'll talk about this, we'll still talk about our art book for charity then, that we still need entries for our art book for charity.
It's not
So
gonna happen without your entries.
that is correct. We don't get people in, they don't submit, it doesn't happen.
Right now it's an art 2 pages.
Yep, so we have,
Very pretty art.
yep, we've got 2 pages in, but we need more than that to make a charity book, so get those in. And then, let's see here, alright, we'll do this again, alright. So new books, May 20th, which we're gonna start with DC and some other publishers. I think Boom is gonna ship on the 20th.
I think there's one trade from Aftershock.
Yeah, Aftershock's got a trade. I think
There's-
Archie has a book. So, but it's basically going to be everyone except Marvel.
Slow roll.
Yeah, Marvel's going to do a slow roll, and Marvel won't ship their first books out until the May 27th. So the first new books from DC and pretty much everyone else will hit May 20th. May 27th will be everyone, and then Marvel. Marvel will be releasing 6 books, I think, the first week, and 8 the second week. So they're going to do a slow roll out for everyone. The big thing we're going to do on this, though, is even though in here we pretty much clean a few times a day and we make sure everything's wiped down, we're going to actually close on Monday, May the 18th, and basically do a full store cleaning.
You're not, I am.
Yeah, somebody's going to do a full store cleaning.
Philip's not cleaning.
Yeah, so it'll be Jacqueline and Tommy doing
Cyrus.
and probably Cyrus doing I've got some maintenance work that I've got to do,
Probably
so
just
I'll
be
be
me and
doing.
Cyrus, let's be honest.
Yeah, fine. I'll be doing maintenance work here. So anyway, yeah, I gotta finish getting some stuff done. One of the things that right now we're not going to make it mandatory because it's not necessarily mandatory yet, but we're going to highly suggest, and I mean highly suggest, that everyone starting on the 20th wear a mask as you come in the store. A lot of states are making it a lot of states is already making it mandatory. I'm not saying that Virginia will or won't, but it will probably be in the best interest of everyone if when you come in, wear a mask, as more and more people will start coming in as some of these, as the stay-at-home orders lifted in May something.
We get to open June
Virginia.
10th?
think it's May something, because the store stuff is like June something.
Right.
But the stay-at-home order is
I
like
think it's the
mid-May. Yeah, it's like mid-May.
Turn in your artwork by May 15th.
So, and as more and more people come out, we'll have like tape strips. We'll keep people at less than 10 in the store. We'll do all that on Wednesdays when your book comes out. But we also suggest you wear a mask.
Philip will fight you with his foam sword.
I do. I have a Nerf sword over there, so I can manage with a Nerf sword. So, all right. So if anyone has any questions on any of the books or any of the book
Policies
rollout,
and procedures.
any of that stuff, just once again let us know, and I'm more than happy to chit chat about it. So not a problem there. Now I'm gonna go take a nap while you handle the next 28 slides that we have.
So, we do have a lot of new books coming out on Tuesday, not related to anything that he just talked about. So,
Not these.
we have a stack from Scholastic for young adult. We have Heartstopper Volume 1. This is a graphic novel about two boys falling in love. And then the next 4 are prose novels. But you know, still good stuff. I Wish You All the Best. The Music of What Happens. Riverdale, for fans of the movie, show, whatever it's called. This is book 4, The Death of a Cheerleader.
The show.
But it's an original novel
About the show.
based on the show, which is based on the book, which is not really based on the book. But this is the book called The Death of a Cheerleader. Got it?
Got it. Thanks.
And Shuri's getting her own book.
Keep going.
It's fine, stop. Shuri. We're going to have a beautiful display of Shuri up by the register, so you can't miss it. This is going to be awesome.
Tuesday. They'll all be out Tuesday. Tuesday the 5th.
Tuesday.
Got it? Next slide?
Yes?
Next slide? Right there? Next slide? Maybe? Hang on. There we go.
And then, more Scholastic
Release date Tuesday, May 5th.
for the all ages section. We have some more prose novels. We have The Moon Within and The Light Jar. I ordered this one for Philip basically, but
It's true.
Nikki Tesla, you know who she is, right? Elements of Genius. This looks like a lot of fun. It's written on graph paper. Hello, that's awesome. And then
Yeah, book's pretty cool.
graphic novels. We have Geronimo Stilton, Sewer Rat and His Adventures.
It stinks.
Yeah,
Says around the
the
back.
Sewer Rat stinks.
Says around the back. Yeah, it stinks.
It's under here.
Oh, does it? I haven't seen the front.
Stink. Will you stop interrupting me?
Sorry. That's all I got.
Trespassers. Summer Vacation Mystery. Ooh, what could go wrong? This looks awesome. And then Philip's favorite by Jeff Smith, Bone Adventures.
And it's new stories. It's
Not
not,
just a reprint.
not the Scholastic reprints that we've been getting. It's actually new Jeff
2
Smith.
new stories for beginners.
Yeah.
They're
And-
so adorable.
And I'm a beginner, so
You know, pretty artwork and cute little characters.
it goes much beyond the 3rd or 4th grade level reading. I don't really comprehend it very well.
No, you don't.
Now you're 27th slide.
All ages from Penguin Random House. We have this Who?
What? You have a what?
Who? HQ?
A hue?
That's really hard to say. Who? HQ about Legos. There's some history and some really cool facts if you want to know more about where Legos came from.
But it is not authorized by the Lego company.
But
in
it is
any way or
accurate, factual information.
It is accurate, factual information, but it is not put out by Lego.
And if you're looking for some role models. Stephen Hawking and Simone Biles. We got some trailblazers. Yay! Learn more about them peeps. And some graphic novels. Stepping stones. So, I think they are stepsisters or something like that, and I don't think they get along very well. Look at that face. Well, there's going to be a beautiful display of these in the all ages section, so grab your copy of that. Pizza and Taco. You want to talk about this book?
All I know is it's about pizza and tacos, and so it's got to be wonderful. But the entertaining thing is so in the artwork, the food piece of everything in there is actual real food.
That's real pizza
So
and
they
real
took
meat in the
pictures
taco.
of the real meat and they added it to the artwork. So that in itself makes that book just
Yeah, the shell
phenomenal.
of the taco is a cartoon, but the meat inside is very real.
And the crust of the pizza is a cartoon, but the actual cheese and sauce of the pizza is actually a picture of pizza.
We don't have but I'm the cheerleader, sorry.
Wow, what?
Um,
Sorry.
And Real Pigeons number 2. Woohoo! We just got one in the other day, so if you want to read about some pigeons.
Right. And then number 3 comes out in September, October-ish.
Yeah,
So
they don't have all 3.
the pigeons are real, folks. They're real.
Folks. Very real. Crime fighting pigeons. What could go wrong? So what do you think about that? Lots of
I
new
only know
stuff
about
for
the
you to
Goodfellas.
read. You're bored.
The Goodfellas is the only pigeons I know.
You're running out of things to read. We got you covered, folks.
Thank you for the 3 people who got that.
I got it.
That's what I said. That's
I'm ignoring
between
you.
you and I, and if Dennis is still watching, he probably got it, but no one else got the
I'm
Goodfellas.
ignoring you because you were interrupting me the whole time.
Fine,
Anyways,
keep going. You're on slide 28.
I made a video of the new releases if you need to see them in slow-mo or with my annoying voice again. It's on YouTube. And I'll probably post it again on Monday on Facebook.
You're still up.
Why?
Because look at what the slide is.
Book club. You can talk about book club.
Fine, it's book club. Tommy
club.
picked this book. This book here, Tommy picked. So Tommy is doing this next Saturday at 4 p.m. for book club. Once again, it's
On
going to be
Zoom.
Zoom.
Tommy's hosting book club on Zoom.
If you want to be fair, I picked all of the books.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. Midnight Nation is on there, and
I
so
mean, you said
Stars
you
Are
wanted.
Scattered, I picked that one.
All right.
yeah. So.
Motor Girl, I picked that one.
Anyway, so if you
Tommy's hosting book club on Zoom. The link will be in the book club group on Facebook, so join the group,
right,
buy the book, come hang out.
the link will be
Pants
in the
not
group.
required.
Right. Please don't tell David that. If you join the group, our book club group, the link, the Zoom link will be out there next Friday. I put it out there Friday afternoon for the Sunday book club. Saturday book
Saturday
club.
at
Today's
4.
Sunday, yes.
Make Me a Woman by Vanessa Davis. It's up by the register. You need your copy.
We have 3 copies left. I
2.
think? 2 copies left.
2 copies left. Come hang out with us.
And then we'll go from there.
Maybe.
Maybe. There we go. And once again, Watson Bucks. We bring
Our
up Watson Bucks.
mascot.
Yep. Watson, our little mascot. He's been slacking lately for not doing reviews, but he's still making the bucks. That's all I got, man.
He gets paid the big bucks.
He just paid the big bucks. So we still have those.
Actually, someone in this household has been reading a lot lately and not taking any pictures with Watson.
That is true. I have read a lot.
Oh, they use the turtles.
No,
They're just trying to escape.
they're just trying to
from
escape.
cages.
Yeah, the turtles haven't been reading a whole lot lately. They've just been trying to escape and
Or
hang
shed
out.
their skin.
Yeah, that too. So we've got that. And
Stanley
then-
card.
And then Stanley card.
He hasn't made an appearance in a while. I think Philip's slacking on the job.
I am slacking on the job, but What,
It's
you-
Tommy's fault for knocking over the.
Maybe I'll get
Shelf.
you to show the Stan Lee card, because obviously everything that you show during the sale, someone buys.
I
So-
mean, I am special.
I'm special. But anyway, so we will be back Tuesday
They
night.
like my singing
They do like your singing.
and dancing.
So we'll be back on Facebook Live on Tuesday for our weekly sale this week. So it'll be kind of a mixed
Like last
match of stuff, kind of like last week. So
Surprise!
it'll be a bunch of surprises and
Might be a sneak peek on Instagrams, Facebooks.
right. Yep, we'll be doing that.
You cannot claim your books ahead of time if we post it on social media and say we're going to be having it during the sale.
Correct. That is correct.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's only fair.
Rules, man, rules. I make the rules.
Do you enforce them? We don't know.
I try. So
Stanley
anyway,
card,
we'll.
still for sale if we can find it. I don't even know where
I know where it is. Yeah. So we'll be entertaining you somewhat, some form on Tuesday at 7.
Well, try to entertain you. Wow, you are making me do like all the work today.
Yeah, I got nothing.
So, my next job, we're doing a sketch cover auction. They were so kindly donated to us to help raise funds during this crisis, and we're going to slowly post
How many Earths were involved?
33.
Okay, all right. That's fair.
So this is just an example of some of the ones I'm going to post. I'm going to post them tomorrow. Don't know what time. Sorry. But I'm going to post 4 on Facebook and 4 on Instagram. And it's going to be auction style where there's a starting bid and you just comment the next increment if you would like to try to win.
Underneath the picture.
I was getting there. In the comment section underneath the picture. So the Instagram will be 4 separate posts because that's how it works. Anyways, we'll have some rules. I'll post that as well. But on Saturday at 4 p.m., the bidding ends and you will be invoiced for the books that you have won because we are not holding them in any boxes. Correct.
Correct. That is correct.
And other rules will be disclosed in the post. But yeah,
But if you win them, we'll invoice you. You pay. We can put them in your box at that point in time, but they just will
Right.
not be held in box.
or they can be shipped if you're not local.
Correct.
Whatever.
Whatever.
But I think he decided the starting bid is going to be $20.
Correct.
They're beautiful. Any questions on that? Let us know.
Previews.
Do your previews.
Do your previews. We need previews now. With books starting to ship, we need this previews to turn in.
April. Last month.
Yes. So this is the April previews. They did give us till, is it Friday, Tommy? This Friday?
It's soon.
Soon. Now. Turn
Let's
them
see,
in
today's
today.
the 3rd. Yes. So we need them by Friday. If they're not in by Friday, your previews will be invalid. So if you haven't turned in your, well, we can't do anything with them.
Non-existent.
We can't do anything with them. So we need that April previews in by next Friday, which is, today's the 3rd, so 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, right?
If you don't know what previews are, Phil can tell you.
Go ahead. What I got? So previews is basically how we order, previews is how we order our books from our distributor Diamond. So this is how we order our single issue books, most of our trades.
The kid's that way.
Sorry. You're prettier though than the camera. So, so that's how we order our single issue. A lot of our trades, not most of this stuff that Jacqueline. So we also use Scholastic and Penguin, but this
We're
is
not
our
talking about
Diamond. This is our Diamond book that we order from. So if you get our normal previews every month, like I said, we need it by next Friday.
If
Which
you
is
want
the
to
8th.
learn more about previews, you can message him directly because he's not
Correct.
doing a very good job telling you how to do it.
Well, I'm not telling you how to do it at this point. I'm just telling you what it is. We can get into how you do it later, but it's easier to come in. But we may do a preview set when the next previews come out. So the next previews come out.
Let's do
I don't know
that.
if Tommy even saw this. You seen this? May
No.
27th.
Okay.
So May 27th is going to be the May-June previews. Diamond posted it this morning,
Okay.
or late last night. But, so this previews is due now. The next previews will actually come out May 27th and be a May-June book because everything was pushed back. It won't be two books combined. We kind of still skipped this whole month and a half. So,
Didn't happen.
yeah, didn't happen.
Once again, thanks for, or if you didn't, it'll be posted on YouTube later. Just the interview, not me talking part.
YouTube.
YouTube. Anyways, this week's giveaway is the Flintstones issues 1 through 12.
So support your local comic shop. Once again, thanks for joining us for our interview. We do not have an interview next week. We have decided to take the week off, but we've got some other interviews scheduled in a couple of weeks going forward.
Like and comment to enter, since Philip interrupted me.
Sorry,
Keeps doing that.
once again, I failed this city.
Favorite Hanna-Barbera character in the comments will win. Thank you. Come again.
Done? You ready?
I'm
We're
done
out.
talking
Are we
now.
out? Are we out? Thanks everyone. We will see you Tuesday for our Facebook Live sale, and then we will be back here next Sunday for our weekend update. So thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
I'm gonna get here and just wave till you turn the camera off. Oh wait, sorry.
Ryan, you're late.